Hey guys, welcome back to Starcastic Remarks. And alongside James, my name is Ryan Chambers. We are the official Dallas Stars podcast of THPN. Thank you to our sponsor, DraftKings Sportsbook, as always, for being our sponsor of this podcast and of THPN. That promo code, once again, is THPN. If you're here for the first time, we encourage you to click like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode of Starcastic Remarks. James, how's it going today? We have a ton of things to talk about and some other things to kind of discuss in terms of Dallas Stars hockey. How are you doing personally, though?
I'm doing pretty good. I did my first sermon tonight, so that was fun and nerve-wracking, but it went good, so I'm doing good.
Good. Well, would you mind indulging me just for a second?
Okay.
Okay. All right. I did not tell you about this beforehand because I wanted to see how you would react live. Okay. It's nothing bad. I'm just going to sit here and rant for a second. It has nothing to do with Dallas Stars, but it does have something to do with hockey. Okay. Right. Okay. So I had my E-League game today. Right. And I get it. It's E-League. Right. Okay. It's not meant to be super serious or anything. But if someone's in the slot and the puck comes to them and they're not able to get a shot off because they're slashed, hooked, and tripped all within 3 seconds of the play, don't you think a penalty probably should be called on that play?
Maybe,
especially if the game is 2-1 and you're the team that's down by 1.
Some would just say skill issue.
You're a brat. I was super frustrated with that. I got tripped down and then the play went the other way and I just kind of like what the heck? And then I got up and skated the other direction and then there was someone that was like, I didn't mean to do it. And I was just like, great, you didn't mean to do it. It's still a penalty. And I didn't get a scoring chance because you did something stupid and bad. So I don't know. Thank you for indulging me there for a second because I needed somewhere to vent and complain and everything. And I love my wife and everything.
And now it's on the internet for everyone.
Yes, exactly. So now everyone can hear me and listen to me complain for the first couple minutes of this podcast. So, all right, James, we got 3 games to talk about here, and I think this team is finally starting to turn a corner, and they're actually starting to look like a contender again. And this is not the we promise we're good kind of thing. This is ignore the turnovers kind of thing. They're doing all of this stuff and they're seemingly starting to buy into goalie system a little bit. And there have been a couple of surprises along the way. I want to give a quick shout out to the Rizković line of him, Beck, and Bourque. That line has been fantastic the last 3 games. And then on top of all of this, we've got Robertson, who is starting to show up. He was at the bottom or in the mid pack in terms of goal scoring, and now he's tied for the team lead or whatever. So
it's close.
He's close. And then we come to figure out that who would have thunk that Johnston and Rantanen have some chemistry together, and
a lot, actually.
And we're going to talk about that a little bit. And that duo has not been broken up, even though Roope Hintz has returned to the lineup. So that's a absolute huge thing for the Stars there. And let's not forget that the Stars are missing 2 of their top 4 defensemen. And maybe it looks like they're going to be losing another one here soon on top of that. And they had to rely upon Liam Bichsel, who for the first time in his career got over 20 minutes time on ice at the NHL level. So there's a lot of things there. And yet all of this right now, it seems like the Stars are starting to join that upper echelon of one other team that I would put in this upper echelon of teams actually finally starting to look good and understand who they are. I think it's Colorado and I think it's Dallas. I don't think there is another team in the NHL right now that is playing at the top of their game right now.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. I think Colorado is still pretty far ahead of everyone else right now, though. I think they're even a step above the Stars right now. They're just playing out of their mind, and it helps when most of your people are not injured.
All right, so let's talk big picture here for a second. We've got all of these good things happening for the Stars. And by the way, for those of you that are watching on YouTube, I apologize if my my video is not perfect. My computer is on its last leg. Yes, it is a potato. It is somehow still working, but it is very laggy. Even though I've lowered the quality of my my camera, but it doesn't matter. Whatever. So let's just start with the vibe check. Okay. So the Stars are on a heater. They've had multiple wins in a row. They're playing fast, they're playing confident, and they're also playing organized. Honestly, James, I know it seems shocking, but the bigger deal right now is how they are playing and how they are winning. They're winning the right way. And we talked about how great that it was, the fact that yes, they're still winning, but there's always that twinge of yeah, but this, and yeah, but this. That seems to have all been gone. I mean, the Stars have outscored their competition 12-1 in the last 2 games, especially. And I think they've kind of rediscovered that structure suffocating identity that they had last year. And on top of that, they are also starting to implement some of those little goalie things that he said he wanted to kind of change up from the Bourque system. So when for you, James, when did the team actually start looking different? Was it this last Philadelphia game, or was it before then?
Really, I thought the turning point for this team was the Kings game that they lost way back in late October. They lost that game like 3-2, but they played amazing and the system looked good. The big thing that I think was really making the results lag behind was the turnovers on the blue lines and odd man rushes specifically. Those 2 things have been cleaned up a lot, and it's shown why goalie wants to play this way, because when you clean those up, it makes it very hard for the other team to get anything going. And one big difference that's just from obvious stat wise between the games that we've seen goalie coach and DeBoer coach is the shot on goal metric. I mean, the shots on goal for the other teams have been very low. I mean, that rarely do teams get to 30 on the Stars in this last couple of games.
I tend to agree with you, especially on the turnovers part. I think that's been the thing that's the reduction of those has been very, very noticeable for me. And it's that early season of let's gift wrap a goal every night kind of idea is kind of gone at this point. And I love that. And the other thing that they're doing is they're able to exit their zone more quickly. And again, that's despite having 2 of their top 4 defensemen as well. So it's been really, really good for all of that. And it looks like they're actually communicating on the ice too.
I would argue that they're not exiting the zone more quickly, but they're exiting the defensive zone more cleanly. It is much more controlled exits out of your own zone, which we've seen controlled exits into the offensive zone for years now. But with the Bourque, I mean, we've talked about this before. When the Stars would get the puck in the defensive zone, the forwards would start to cheat up ice, and that was part of that system was trying to beat people up ice, and that's not what we're seeing with goalie system. We're seeing more passing east-west in your own zone before you exit.
Okay, so let's talk about the Flyers game here for a second, since that is the most recent one. That was very dominating. And I get that, Flyers are not the greatest team in the world. They're still having a decent season compared to where people expected them to be. Dan Vladar was really good last night for them, despite giving up 5 goals. I don't think most of those were his fault. He saved a whole bunch of stuff for the Flyers, and he's really solidified that crease for them. The final score really said domination, James. And I would say that this was more of a domination in terms of the play and the way that it went, even more so over the 7-0 win against the Canadians. Because when you, I know that
I'll let you make your point, but then I'll counterpoint.
The point is, the biggest thing for me is you look at the goaltending. Jay Gottinger did not have to do very much last night. Let's be honest. He really, truly did not have to do much. In the first period against Montreal, the Smith basically, I don't want to say he had to stand on his head, but he was very close to standing on his head in that first period, especially the first 10 minutes when the Canadians were just flying around. And he was the reason why the Stars were able to hang around. And then it came to the point the Stars got their feet under them, and they really started to be able to take advantage of some of the opportunities that they were given. And it seemed like everything was going in the net for the Stars against the Canadians. I think that 7-0 win is a little bit, I can't think of the right word right now. It was not a 7-0 win as much as it was, as people think it was a dominating win by Dallas. I much, much, much preferred the 5-1 win over the Flyers than I did the 7-0 win over the Canadians.
And now I will make my counter argument, and which is that was the Canadians building that they did it in. So yes, it definitely DeSmith had to be very big in those first 10 minutes, but then the Stars ran the show and completely annihilated them in their own building. That was the biggest deficit the Canadians have ever had at home, ever in their entire history. The 7-0 loss. And I can kind of agree that the Flyers game is a more complete game, but that was at the American Airlines Center. That's a very big difference between the two. It's a lot easier to choke a team out when you're the home team.
Fair enough, but I still think that I felt great after the Montreal Canadiens game. Don't get me wrong. I love scoring a touchdown against against the team. But the deal was that throughout the Philadelphia game, there were a lot of people that called this a trap game, right? The Stars were on a 4-game win streak. They're coming home against a team that is going to be in a second night of a back-to-back, not necessarily the greatest team in the NHL right now, but still pretty decent. This looked like a trap game. And for me, I thought we were going to lose that game. I really did. Just because I thought we had been playing so well, and the law of averages tends to go one way after a period of time. But throughout that game, the Stars did not relent on the pressure for a good portion of the game. The only time where I thought that the Stars were not in control of the game was early on in the second period. Like the first 7, 8 to 10 minutes of the second period. And then they kicked it into another gear after that. And even then, even though that the Flyers were getting chances and they were getting shots in on Ottinger, he was not being overly tested. There were no secondary opportunities for the most part. But that's why I absolutely loved the Flyers game, was because of how they were going about their business. That's the way that this team needs to play to prove to the rest of the league that they are one of the better teams.
And another thing is, I think that Montreal is a much better team than the Flyers are. The Flyers are playing great right now. I think the Montreal Canadiens are playing more where they're supposed to be. I think the Flyers are probably overplaying where they should be right now. Another thing, though, is if not for Jason Robertson in that Flyers game, I mean, that could have gotten very bad very, very quickly. And that's another thing that I feel like is kind of a point towards the Canadiens game too, is there was just so many different people who scored. I mean, you had Petrovic score in that game, so
hadn't scored a goal since 2018
in the regular season.
In the regular season, yes, I should be specific. That's crazy. That's absolutely nuts to me.
Well, he scored a playoff goal, you know?
Yeah, I know, right? He scored a playoff goal before he scored another regular season goal. That's nuts. So let's talk about Jason Robertson, because he's got 10 points in the last 3 games.
I believe it's 9, but before that, the main big stat is 6 goals in the last 3 games after going 14 games with only getting 1. So that really it clearly was choking him out. Robertson got that first goal on the power play in Ottawa, and you could just see it like instantly flip a switch. when he had the puck again, he just knew what he wanted to do with it instantly again, and he was trying all sorts of stuff, and then that's what led to the 2-goal game in Montreal, and then the hat trick against the Flyers. I mean, he's just shooting it from wherever, which is what he was doing before, and they're just hitting the back of the net now. It's crazy what a little bit of confidence can do.
Yes. So that means he's going to score 4 against the Islanders, right? 1, 2, 3, 4.
I think that math adds up.
Okay, that's what I thought. Just wanted to make sure. Like and just what was different about these last 3 games compared to the previous 14, where he had scored 1 goal in those 14 games, was the fact that he was actually he was actually scoring robo type goals.
They shouldn't go in. Yeah.
It doesn't look like they should go in, but it's all of a sudden it's just a absolutely wicked shot from not from extreme distance, but within a 15 feet
Mid-range.
of the crease. Yeah,
Mid-range
not quite.
shot.
Yeah, so not in the slot, not down deep, not from the red line or whatever. Like it's like this little bubble, this little semicircle about 20 to 25 feet out. Right.
I really thought that was the most important thing about the power play goal he scored. It was not just it just banked off of him. I mean, he sniped it, and that's the spot that he always snipes it from too. It is just right there in the mid range, like you're talking about, right there. And once he hit that one, it's like, okay, he's gonna fly.
Mm-hmm. And I really thought he was gonna have a hat trick against Montreal, but he just saved it for the next night, the next game. So I'm obviously he's not going to keep up this pace. Obviously, I was joking about the 4-goal game and against the Islanders, but does this mean he's that? Are we fine with him being this streaky? Are we fine with him, putting up assists like he has? But he was still a point per game player despite not being able to hit the back of the net. So he was still contributing offensively and setting other people up, and that's just been something he's always done. Or do we want him to be a little bit more consistent and maybe have like a goal every other game or something like that, rather than just 9 points in 3 games?
Over his career, he's generally pretty consistent after he breaks that dam. Every goal scorer has cold streaks, but he generally is consistent. So I'm not too worried about it. The big thing that should be pointed out is that his assists were so high at the beginning of the season that he was on pace to have the most assists in his entire career. So that's something that really could be cool. And honestly, if you want to start talking about forward pairings, I mean, that him being with Rope still, I feel like is a really big part of it too.
Because who was he playing with before then? Was he playing with
he was playing with Wyatt and Duchene, yeah.
And then he even got some games in there with Sagan when Sagan was playing a bit of center, right?
Oh, it was Wyatt and Bourque, actually. Is what it was.
And he didn't look terrible, but
no, that line looked great and their analytics were great, but they just never scored.
Right. Exactly. So it just seems like that whole combination between him and Hintz is starting to come back to life. And
it's a duo that we knew was going to get revived just because they've played together for so many years now. Robo's played his whole career with Rope right next to him.
So here's the question though, James, and the biggest question that a lot of people are going to be asking is, what do you do when Duchene comes back? Because when Benn comes back, it's not going to be that big of a deal. You can throw him on any line, and he'll be the third guy. Rather, you know how goalie is very much more interested in duos instead of actual trios in terms of offensive lines. So he just find 2 guys and throw another guy on there that he thinks might complement them. Okay. What happens when Duchene comes back?
You throw Bourque or Benn on there, see what happens. I think really, you
don't want to mess up this chemistry, right?
Well,
the chemistry of this team is going well.
Sagan is definitely on that line, but the chemistry is clearly much more between Robo and Rope than it is between all three of them together. I mean, they've been playing great together, and they've had moments of brilliance like that. But you can't forget the chemistry between Sagan and Duchene too. And that's what's really interesting about this team right now is the past couple of years we've had lines full of chemistry. I mean, we have like the Duchene, Marchment, Sagan line. That line was good because they were so good together.
And Benn, Sagan, and Radulov back in the day.
Yeah, and instead of seeing that this year we're seeing pairs of forwards. We're seeing Wyatt and Rantanen be absolutely amazing together. They look incredible together. They just know what each other wants to do with the puck. And of course, you always have Robo and Hintz. Like I've said, they've been playing for years. And then once you get Duchene back, Sagan and Duchene, I mean, they look great together too. And I feel like just whoever fits in any of those spots is fine. Because on that top line with Wyatt and Rantanen, we've seen Steele be there for most of the time. And like Steele looks good, but he's not picking up points. You know, the scoring synergy is not there. Whereas he is helping drive the play. He's not getting on the scorecard as much.
Right. And I think Darren's right about this. You put him with Sagan because now, and what that does also for me though is it and this is where it's really interesting because you don't want to take off Wyatt from Rantanen because they just seem to get it. You don't want to take, especially right now, you don't want to take Robo off of Hintz because that seems to work really well too. And then for me, and then we'll make a quick pivot to this here in a second, but I really don't want to break up that Rizković line the way that it's going. Like, that is one of my favorite lines that I have seen in a very long time, like bar none. And we'll talk about that here in a second. But what that does do is that breaks up that fourth line, in my opinion, and those players from those lines have to go on all of the other lines because I'm not breaking up that Rizković line, in my opinion. That can become your quote unquote fourth line, I guess, if you wanted to do that. So Blackwell, Fox, that you've got to find somewhere else for them to go rather than breaking up that pairing. That's what I would do personally. So you can throw when Benn comes back, you can throw Benn on the line with Hintz and with Robo, I guess. I don't know, but like I'm not. I really think that's the answer. You put him back with Sagan, and then you leave that Rizković line alone because they are driving play like crazy.
Yeah, and the eye test, they look really good too, I think is the big thing. So I think you're right about leaving that as your fourth line. That's maybe more of a regular season fourth line, though. Honestly, by the time you get to the playoffs, maybe you'd much rather have Fox, Ernie, and I've lost his name.
Blackwell.
No, Bastion.
Oh, Bastion, yeah.
Yeah, Bastion. I think Blackwell could be one of those players who slots into those duos, honestly. And Ernie as well, for that matter. Ernie has been very good offensively to start the year. I feel like he could, maybe he fits on the line with Sagan and Duchene. I feel like that could work really well for him.
Speaking of Adam Ernie, we got to talk about him and a couple of others here because, like I mentioned off the top, the Stars are doing all of this despite all of the injuries that they are facing right now. And the injuries continue to pile up, and it seems to be getting worse and worse right now for the Stars. So Adam Ernie was put on IR, and that was retroactive to the day that he was injured. Thomas Harley is now week to week, and that was literally announced right before the start of the Philadelphia game. Apparently it was something that had been nagging him for the last 3 to 4 games, and he was just kind of playing on it, and he looked fine. But then they just made the decision, you need to be ready for the playoffs. We're shutting you down now.
Well, I think saying that he looked fine is just wrong too. He clearly was off. I mean, his offensive flair was completely gone.
Fair enough. So the other thing about this too is we're starting to see some players get back. Both Duchene and Benn we're seeing skating with the team here today. Benn is much closer than Duchene, is what the report is. And that will be a huge, boost in morale when you can get Jamie Benn back on your team. It doesn't matter where he plays. Just even if he plays 6 minutes in the first game, that would be huge for the team, and they would get a huge boost in that.
And what's crazy is with how these pairings are working out, he really might end up being on the fourth line, which is the stupidest thing ever to say. But
well, I mean, he'd just be a really top end fourth line guy, I guess. I don't know. The other thing also that was mentioned today is that Ilya Lyubushkin was not on the ice for practice today, and a lot of people were hoping that it was just for maintenance purposes. It doesn't seem to be the case. They're evaluating him. That was the word that they used at the media availability today. Words are hard. And we'll have to look and see if the Stars call up somebody before Tuesday. They've got a couple of days off here, today and tomorrow for Monday, which is very rare right now in terms of just scheduling and everything. But this is really, really, really scary because the Stars defense is completely mauled down. But what I do like what I do want to do is I want to throw some cold water on that worry. And the fact is, look at my favorite Eastern Conference team right now, just because of who they have. The Hurricanes, Stankoven, right? They were my favorite team in the East before.
Fight earlier?
Yes, that was amazing.
That's nasty.
But their decor is very much ravaged right now, and yet they're still able to do really well. The Carolina Hurricanes are. So they're going to have to rely upon a lot from Liam Bichsel. And this is his time to prove that he is truly a top 4 defenseman. And right now he's going to be the number 3.
Yeah. And I see how we're kind of freaking out about this. Cause I mean, we literally have 3 of our opening night defensemen hurt. There are teams, a lot of teams who are going to sit through this similar thing. I feel like really the only team that's an exception right now is the Avalanche. They're the only team who doesn't have like a major injury on their side. And I feel like that's why they're rolling so well. But every single team in the league is dealing with some sort of major injury on their roster. And I feel like that's just going to have to be this whole season.
So, James, what do you think the Stars are losing most with Harley out of the lineup? Is it just minutes played, or what else are they missing with him out of the lineup?
I think with how he had been playing the last few games, it is just minutes played. Because, like I said, his offensive flair was gone. We did not see it. It was non-existent, which really is unfortunate because that's his best part of the game. But I think we're just going to see more Liam Bichsel like we did in that Flyers game. And I thought Bichsel did a great job in that game too. And one thing that was really fun to kind of see is his, since he's out there more, he has a larger presence on the game as a whole. Whereas he throws big hits in the 12 minutes that he would play if Harley was in the lineup. When he gets 18 minutes like this and he's just out the whole time, I mean, he gets into a lot of scrubs, and that is a type of player that the Stars don't have on the defensive side. Really, he's the only one.
I feel like Ilya Lyubushkin could do something like that. He just does physicality a little bit differently, and same thing with Petrovic. They're both pretty big guys. I mean, if I remember, Bush is 6'4", and I know Petrovic is 6'5" for sure. I know that. They just don't go after gargantuan huge hits like Bichsel had literally last night. Which who was it against? It wasn't Michkov.
It was the other person who hits a lot on their team, I think. They were going back and forth all night long, though.
Garnet Hathaway.
Yeah,
that's right.
They were going back and forth all night long. That was so much fun to watch.
Right, it was. And I think this is a good transition to kind of talk about this for a second. But first off, I want to say, Ryan, that is very generous of you, bud. We really appreciate it. He says, I actually made a live. Let's go. This super chat is my donation to the Stars medical bills. That's a good one. I love that. Appreciate you, Ryan. And then this is a great transition here for Ardell getting in here too. Hey, Ardell. Mikko Rantanen is better than anyone thought, and we all knew he was good. A rising tide lifts all boats. Everyone is now a Mikko merchant. Yes, agreed. 100% in agreement with you there. And where I want to go with this now is I want to talk about Wyatt Johnston and the chemistry that he has with Mikko Rantanen. I agree with Ardell in that Mikko is definitely making everybody else better, and he is absolutely worth that $12 million cap hit that was much, much bigger than everybody else's cap hit when he first signed that contract. But I would also push a little bit in the fact that we've seen that anybody who plays with Wyatt over the last several years has been very, very good as well. And I think that, Wyatt is also kind of elevating the play of Mikko Rantanen as well. That's just what good players do together.
Yeah, I think it's something really special that we haven't seen from Johnston before. I mean, his whole career, it's kind of just been him playing on the third line with whoever happens to be on the third line that night. He never really had too much chemistry with anyone besides maybe like Jamie Benn that last good year during the Renaissance. But that was the only time that I feel like he really had good chemistry with another player. And I think part of that is because the Stars already have their pieces fitting together, like Robo and Hintz and like Duchene and Sagan. He hasn't really had the chance to be like the center with someone else that good, because they're already the chemistry is already better with someone else on the team. And I think just with Rantanen coming in, he's just been able to latch on to that. And that's just been something really special just to watch for him as the games have gone along.
Pilot's Kid 91 with a great comment here. Wyatt and Mikko is the video game duo I'd play and score on rookie mode and beat a team 70-0. Man, y'all got some good some good chirps in there this evening. I love that. He's absolutely right in that they look like a video game duo right now. And I know a lot of the attention right now, James, is very much focused on the power play, which as it should be. I mean, Wyatt is leading the league in power play goals right now. He's got 8 of his 11 or 8 of his 12, I believe, are power play goals. But it's just that the way that they play together, even 5-on-5, they just seem to know what the other is going to do.
And they're really incredibly good at hanging on to the puck too. Like Wyatt has always been good at dangling, especially last season. We saw it a bunch where sometimes he would just dangle through like 3 people and score a goal all by himself. But Mikko is just as good at stick handling, if not better than Wyatt is. I really think they're very similar on that field specifically. And I think where Wyatt has really learned from Mikko the most is how to cycle that between 2 different people. Like, because they just hold on to the puck all the time, even when you don't expect them to. They're getting surrounded by 3 people, and Wyatt will just pass to Mikko, and then Mikko holds it off from 3 people. And they just go back and forth, and it makes it nearly impossible unless they make a bad pass for the other team to get the puck.
Well, and I know you said that Steele is not getting as many points as the other 2 guys are, because again, the other 2 guys are mostly playing on the top power play, and that's where they're getting a majority of their points. But he is still doing really well. Sam Steele is on that top line, and I'll eat my words. I know that you really didn't like Sam Steele being on that top line, and you still don't probably want him on that top line, but he's played very well as a complementary piece to both of those players. He doesn't need to score all the points or score any goals or anything like that. he's doing a lot of the little stuff right with that line. And now I'm starting to see and kind of understand why, that Glenn Goligoski continues to kind of stick with that line.
Yeah, and I still think that when he was playing with Hintz and Rantanen, it looked terrible. I did not think that looked good at all. I think he has looked good with Rantanen and Wyatt, though. I think a big reason for that is because he's not just trying to skate up the ice with Hintz. I mean, those two players are both extremely fast. They both just want to use their speed to get into the zone. And I feel like that just clashed so much. I really think that was the reason why I thought it looked so bad, because they were just doing the same thing at different levels. I think it's worked very well with Hintz being on a different line.
All right, and one last question about Wyatt and Mikko, and then we'll move on. But I got to ask this. Well, I guess it's a two-part question. I got two questions. Sorry. Is this the best we've seen of Wyatt Johnston in his career so far? Is he playing the best hockey of his young NHL career?
I don't think so.
Really?
I think the power play is really propping up those two. And I think the 5-on-5 play is going to come. And I really think they're going to start scoring more even strength. But so far, I think they've really been propped up by the power play.
Okay. I think it is. I think this is the best that we've seen Wyatt Johnston play, because he was thrusted into a 1C role, which I think he's solidified. James,
I don't know if it's a 1C, but
yeah, he's playing with Mikko Rantanen, James.
Yeah,
okay, he is a 1C.
No, if you're talking about like who would you want to match your best center up against the other team's best center, I'm still picking Rope every single time. Honestly.
Okay, yes, because he's more of the. He is, yes. I see what you're saying, and he is much more defensively responsible than Wyatt has been this year. And by the way, that is one thing that does need to get better on Wyatt's end in his game, is some of the D zone coverage does need to get better. But
that's specifically against the best players in the league too. He's been playing against third line players for 3 years now, and he's got to elevate his defensive game.
And I think that will come. And I don't know. I think that he will solidify that moving forward, because I think that defensive side of his game is going to get better. And then I think that it's still going to continue with that chemistry with Rantanen. And then it's just going to be that much more scary for the opposition.
Really, I don't think that the Stars have a top line right now. I don't think it exists. We have a bunch of really good lines that do different things really, really well.
And to your point, if you're the opposition, if you're the Islanders preparing for Tuesday, who are you focusing on? Are you focusing on Wyatt and Rantanen, or are you focusing on Hintz and Robo? That sucks. That's awesome for the Stars, I should say. That's awesome. That's an awesome problem to have. So and then final question about Wyatt, because the guys on DLLS were talking about this, and I think it was actually I think it was Sean Shapiro who kind of said yes, he is being included. Does Wyatt Johnston make the Team Canada roster for the Olympics?
He probably will. The Olympics rosters are a little bigger. He might have to squeak on there, though. Not gonna lie.
I am unsure if he makes it or not. If he keeps playing like this, then I think it will be very hard for people to keep him off of the roster. I think they were saying, and they being Team Canada, so the Doug Armstrong, Jim Nill, some other guys who are putting this, Team Canada roster together. I think they said that they're down to like 30 to 35 players in terms of, who is going to be on that roster. And And from what Sean Shapiro understands, it sounds like he's saying that Wyatt Johnston is in that 30 to 35 players that's being considered. So
I think if he makes it, he's going to be more of a backup to whoever gets hurt. If someone gets hurt, he can plug and play.
I think he's going to be a fourth line guy. I think he will be a fourth line
role. I don't think they should put him there if they're going to take him.
Well, the other thing about it too is like everyone else in the NHL is talking about, Macklin Celebrini and also Connor Bedard, and like, oh well, you have to take one and or both of these players to Team Canada. And I'm like, well, what about Wyatt Johnston? I would take Wyatt Johnston over both of those guys right now. No offense to either one of those guys. They've been very good as of late, but Wyatt Johnston has a whole heck of a lot more experience than both of those guys. And he is, and I know that I just criticized him on his defensive coverage, but his defensive coverage is much more in tune than both Celebrini and Bedard. But that's I digress.
At the end of the day, you're talking about a Wyatt being a 22-year-old with 100 goals under his belt already. So 100 goals, almost 200 points. 2 points away from 200. That's nuts.
Yes, and a guy that's in his oh my gosh, is he in his fourth season?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Feels like just yesterday I was predicting him to make the roster. Man, that's crazy to think that it's been that long already.
Looking back at it, that wasn't a very hard prediction.
Well, now, yeah, of course. But like at the time,
even after that season, that should have been a lock from the get-go.
Yeah, but everyone said that I was crazy, and they were like, "Oh, Logan Stankoven's going to get it," and I'm like, I don't know. And I kept saying it was Wyatt because I remember watching him play. Okay. Anyways, we're running out of time very quickly here, so I want to jump into this because I have had so much pure hockey joy watching the line of Justin Rizković and Oscar Beck and Maverick Bourque. And what's crazy is that all three of these guys could center a line and be just fine. I mean, Rizković is currently doing it. He's the one that's kind of centering that line for the most part. And they're all three completely different players, in my opinion, right? Oscar Beck is definitely more of that laid back, defense first kind of forward. And he was the fill-in for Radek Faksa last year when we traded Faksa away. He was Radek Faksa 2.0, right? Or I guess I should say Radek Faksa light. Okay, because Faksa is way better than Beck is at his job. But then you got Bourque, who is considered to have this top six potential that neither one of the other two guys have. And then you've got Justin Rizković, who is just, I would describe him as Antoine Roussel mixed with a little bit of Steve Ott and also with a little bit of skill in there as well. I love watching him play. Like all three of these guys are completely different in every sense of the word. Yet the games that we've seen them play together, they have been sometimes the Stars' best line in a period. And it seems to be now they did have some ups and downs, just like every line does. But in the game against the Flyers, they were very noticeable. In the game on Tuesday, they were extremely noticeable for me as well. And I have truly enjoyed watching them. They just forecheck like they're late on rent. Like it's ridiculous watching these guys play. And they spend entire shifts in the offensive zone, which I remember last year complaining about that all the time and being like, yes, guys, I love the fact that we're getting goals off of the rush, but can we please spend some time in the offensive zone so we're not having to utilize so much energy in our own zone? So I just wanted to throw that out there. I think it's extra important that this line is finding some chemistry and we're seeing the benefit of having these three guys together right now, because it has made this team a lot deeper, especially with all of the injuries that they're facing right now. This is a pleasant surprise for me.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch for sure. I think Oscar Beck is really a underrated player on that line too, because where I mean, there's still some like speed differences for Rizković especially in the defensive side of the game. I mean, Oscar Beck just covers it up completely. He swallows any defensive zone shift that they have. Oscar Beck just looks like the best player on the ice.
Well, and then on top of that, though, James, is when they're in the offensive zone, Oscar Beck is actually getting like offensive chances. He's getting scoring chances.
Yeah, but
and
I that's true. But I just think he shines so much better in the defensive zone. Can we
No,
move him to defenseman? Actually, I need it right now.
You know, you're not halfway. Like and we'll talk about it here to kind of wrap things up towards the end. But like that's you're halfway joking. I get it. Like you're like, 40% joking at this
He
point.
would be so good.
He might be really good at it. I don't know.
I mean, his stick position reminds me of Miro's stick position. Like how he just kills plays off of people's stick with his stick. He just puts his stick in the right spot and it kills the play completely.
The way that he plays defensively reminds me a lot of just Miro's aura about him. He just
it's calm.
That's so the right word. Yes, it's very calm. It's very like understanding of what his role is, what his job is to do, and he's able to do it very, very well. So I love watching that line play, and I think Bourque has finally kind of found a line that he complements very well on. And I know that it's all about duos, and we've made that point with the other three lines. I think you keep this trio together because they all feed off of each other really well. I think if you take one of those three guys off of that line, that makes all three guys, I can't think of the right word right now. My goodness, I can't think of the right word. But it makes them not as important to this team anymore. It lowers their value. That's kind of what I was trying to say.
I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, our fourth line could end up being like Radek Faksa, Oscar Beck, and Nathan Bastian. And that is just the most terrifying defensive forward line I've ever heard of. So, I mean, I'm excited to see that later in the season too. I think really Ritzy's going to have to fight really hard to stay on this roster because Ernie has played out of his mind, and I mean Blackwell has played very well offensively too.
I still think that he is keeping his spot on this team, and I think that they're going to be scratching guys like Blackwell, like Ernie when Ernie comes back, like Bastian. I think he is going to stay in the lineup in favor of those other guys. And now I'm not saying he's going to have a super long leash and he's never going to be taken out and never scratched or anything like that. But the way that he's playing right now, I don't think he deserves to go back to the AHL. I don't think there's anything left for him there.
Well, I think what I am kind of seeing in his future, if you will, is that when Benn comes back, everyone gets knocked down one spot. Like I joked about Benn playing on the fourth line. He's not going to play on the fourth line. Let's be honest. And that's going to knock everyone down one spot. And then you have to make a decision on whether to scrap that line or not. And I think the obvious decision is going to be to break them up just because you have more talent coming back into the lineup. I mean, you still have Duchene to come back in. You have Benn to come back in. And then you're sitting there and you have to scratch like Radek Faksa to keep him in. So it's gonna I really think it's gonna be very hard for him to keep his spot. He definitely can.
Faksa never comes out of the lineup. No, that he's
but that's what I'm saying though. It's going to take him playing better than Faksa every single night for him to stay on this roster. And I don't know if he's going to be capable of doing that.
Well, when both of those guys get back, then I think you're scratching Colin Blackwell, and I think you're scratching Nathan Bastian. I think those are the two guys that come out of the lineup.
I just don't think you should scratch Nathan Bastian.
He hasn't been playing, even though the Stars have been facing a lot of injuries in the forward group lately. The only reason why he got in the last couple of games is because Adam Ernie got hurt.
And then what happens when Ernie comes back?
I don't think he comes back in the lineup. That's just my personal opinion.
I think Ernie has played better than Rizković.
Not lately. I think.
Well, he's hurt, so I have a little
that's
bit
not
of
what
an
I
excuse.
meant. That's not what I meant. I think that Rizković is bringing a lot more value right now, currently, than what Ernie was bringing earlier before he got hurt. Obviously, that is what I'm saying. But and this is a good point, Darren. I should bring this up. Great problems to have.
Yeah,
absolutely, 100%. Like you have all of these injuries. Guys are entering and exiting the lineup for different reasons. And yet we're still able to have these conversations like this and be like, well, no, this guy deserves to be in the lineup. And well, no, this guy is still playing pretty well too. All of this is great problems to have. Yeah. And I'm only halfway joking when I say we might see 13-5 on Tuesday.
Just play back as a defenseman. It'll be fine.
Foxa, you and Beck are just going to switch off as the number 6 defenseman for a majority of the game. How about that? Yeah. So that's it's fun to see right now with where the Stars are at. So, okay. So here's the question that kind of defines the whole episode here, though, James, is are the Stars playing like a true contender? You think that they're not quite in that same echelon as the Colorado Avalanche?
I just think the Colorado Avalanche are playing out of their mind right now.
They are. But are they in that same category as Colorado right now?
I definitely think they're a contender for sure. They're playing like a contender. There's just not very many teams who are doing it. And Colorado is having maybe the best season in NHL history. Barring like some injuries. Like if they can avoid the injury bug, Colorado might have the best NHL season ever.
Well, they've only lost one game in regulation the entire season.
Yep.
I don't even know who it's to. That would be interesting.
Not the Stars.
Well, the Stars beat them though. They beat them in overtime. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. And at that point, I think they were like 8-1-5. Or something like that. Now I know it's a lot different now. They've got.
We beat them in the second game of the season, right?
Yes. Well, what I'm saying is like they were 8-1-5 at one point, and they had lost like almost half their games, but they had gotten a point in a lot of those because they just losing in overtime or in a shootout or whatever. But anyways, I'm saying yes right now, to be honest, to answer my own question, because they're playing differently than they did last month. They have seemed to figure it out. The puck support is starting to be elite again. The breakouts are clean. The neutral zone has been tremendously better in how they've gone about their business. And then also the other fact is that key players are starting to get back to form to where they should be. And obviously, I'm mostly shadowing and inferencing Robo here, but
Robe too, honestly.
Robe too has been a lot better too. So it's just that all the key players are heating up at the right time, and that's with Wyatt Johnston and Rantanen being very consistent in terms of getting offensive numbers too.
And if you want to make your stab from earlier in the podcast, you said the last 2 games the Stars have outscored the opponent 12-1. Well, the last 4, they've outscored them 17-4. So
that's nuts.
It looks even better. I mean, the last 4 games have been absolutely outstanding.
And did I mention they're doing this without Nils Lundkvist, who was in a top 4 role starting at the beginning of the year? They're doing this without Harley, and Harley's going to be out for a little while. They're doing this without their captain. They're doing this without
their top point scorer, Matt Duchene.
Yeah, from the regular season. They're doing this without Otter being at the top of his game necessarily. I don't think he's
back.
He's
last
had some
two games
good
looked really good.
Yes, he has looked better, and they're doing all of this stuff. They're still winning, and yet they have all of these problems. I mean, that's a mark of a good team. That is a mark of a good team when you're able to win despite trials that come your way. So that's why I think this team is back to a legit fear-inducing Stanley Cup contender status. That's just where I'm at with the Stars right now. Do you think that the way that they're playing is sustainable, or do you think that they can keep this up for a duration of the regular season?
I think the fact that they've had these injuries and they're playing this way proves that they can. It proves that it's more a style type that they're playing right now than really what I felt like with DeBoer on most nights is just that our players are just better than their players every single night. And that I really think DeBoer leaned on that. And I think to be fair to him, our players are better than most other teams' entire roster. Like that, just match up 1-to-1. I feel like most of them are better than them. And that can work in the regular season extremely well, and we saw it work very well in the regular season. And then in the playoffs, you could beat the first couple of teams, and you get to the best teams, like the best teams every single year, and it fell off a cliff. And I think we're seeing more of a actual style. I don't know. It feels
identity.
More, yeah. I feel like the identity of the team before is that our players are just good. They're just better than you. And that's how they would beat you. And that we're seeing more thought with the puck, I feel, rather than just go.
Fair enough.
That's a really gross way to like summarize Pete DeBoer's system, but that's the best I can get to.
Because he's a good coach. He is a good coach. Okay, last question, and then we'll do like a biggest winner, biggest loser of the week. We'll start doing that on Sundays. So let's assume that Bush is hurt and he's not going to play on Tuesday and for the foreseeable future. Who do you see getting called up? Do you think it's Trey Taylor, or do you think that it's Goligoski? Because honestly, for me, it's only between one of those two guys.
I mean, I actually was trying to text Chris about this in the Discord earlier today. He seems to think it's going to be Goligoski as well. That's the obvious easy choice. He already has NHL experience. He's looked good when he's had to come in and fill when he played in Pittsburgh. So we're going to see Goligoski. If he really just was terrible and there's just no way we could play him, we'd get Taylor and it would be a quick switch. But really, I don't think it's going to matter too much who comes up, because I think that Bischel, Heiskanen, and Lindell are just going to eat as many minutes as they possibly can. They're just going to be on the ice all the time.
I tend to agree with you. I think that's going to happen, and Bischel's really going to have to step up. He's going to go from, 14, 15 minutes a night to, 20, because that's I mean, Miro and Lindell are going to eat up a good chunk of the Harley minutes, but someone else is going to have to step up, and it's going to have to be Bischel. So
there's no one else to step up. He's the last one left.
Yeah, after that, it's
got hurt.
After that, we're relying upon Petrovic and Capobianco.
Let's just hope that it doesn't get there.
Or as Lud says, Coco Banana. That's what he calls Capobianco. I love that. I thought Capobianco was okay. I thought he was okay in the
limited minutes.
No, well, did you look at the time on ice? I actually went and looked. Yeah, I think he played like 16 minutes.
In the Flyers game or the Canadiens?
No, the Flyers game.
The Flyers game he did that?
I'm not joking. If
I'll have to go back and look.
if I'm crazy.
Well, I didn't notice
No.
him, so I guess that's good. But
Yes, that's a mark of sometimes of a guy. You just want him to be indivisible. Indivisible.
at least
Oh my gosh,
in his
invisible.
in his position, and him just coming up to fill, yes, you just want him to be invisible. He did play 1542.
See, I told you. See, that's a lot.
I'd like to see how much of that was in the third period.
Well, who cares? That's fine.
Well, 3-0 scoreline cares. We get back to tight games and it might be a problem, but for right now, we're doing just fine.
Loving it.
Beating people by 4 goals. It's gonna happen every game, right, Ryan?
Sure. And then then like 12 games from now, Robo is going to be single-handedly destroying players and scoring like 12 goals a game. And hey, we talked about a 70-0 win, right? In terms of video games, yeah. I mean, Wyatt Johnston and Rantanen can do that as well, right?
Yeah,
they can help out with that 70 goal.
Yeah, definitely,
100%.
Yeah.
Okay. Biggest winner, biggest loser of the week.
Biggest winner is easily far and away Jason Robertson. Having 1 goal through 14 games is really tough, especially for him. He scored 1 in Ottawa and then went off 9-point week, 6 goals, hat trick. Yeah. Welcome back, Robo.
Yeah. I love it.
He's now second on the team in points too. So, I mean,
for the week, that's the real answer. Honestly, is Jason Robertson, but I got to give it because I love watching them play the Rizković line. That's the biggest winner of the week for me. Since you said the obvious one, I so much enjoy watching them play on the ice. Like they're my favorite line that I've seen in a very long time, and I hope they continue to play together moving forward. Who do you got for the biggest loser of the week, James?
My biggest loser. Can we even pick one this week?
It doesn't have to be a Dallas Star. I've got one.
Whoever dropped that massive F-bomb on the Flyers bench.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my word. That was the loudest curse I've heard on a broadcast before. They were already down. Like that was right after Sagan scored his breakaway goal. Mm-hmm. And then they came back and he missed like a half open net. But that was loud. The Flyers were upset that game.
For me, I'm going to give mine to Matvei Michkov because that guy doesn't play defense. I don't know if you watched him particularly, but yeah, I was kind of focused on him on the other side just because he is kind of the quote unquote superstar for the Flyers. He's like the go-to guy. And not only did he not play very well in the game against Dallas, but he's also getting called out by Sean Couturier, the captain of the Flyers, and being like, look, you got like to the public. And he's saying like some of us need to come back and actually play defense. And he was talking about Michkov. And Michkov is a younger guy though. I think he's even younger than Wyatt. I think he's 20. So that will come around. But still, he's my biggest loser of the week.
Yeah, he's fun to watch when he has the puck, but I mean he's very much. Who was it? Like Patrick Laine, who did that similar kind of thing. Didn't like playing defense that much. Kind of a disaster waiting to happen if he doesn't do anything about it, you know?
Still doesn't, to be honest with you.
No, that's what I'm saying. And look how good Patrick Laine is.
Well, not so much anymore. He just consistently been getting hurt the last couple of years.
Well,
I feel bad for the guy. We're kind of talking circles here. We got to wrap this up. Okay. But we do need to end with this though too. Ardell, Rantanen is the best player on this team, and it's not even close. 100%. The guy can take over a game by himself, and there is a reason why Jim Nill broke his cardinal rules of trades with trading away 3 first-round picks and basically 4, I guess, if you want to include Logan Stankoven in and all of that. Without him on this team, that yes, there are other players that can get stuff done, but he is truly a game changer for this franchise right now.
It's really strange because like I still see Robertson as that kind of player who can flip a game on its head, but it's not the same way in which Rantanen does it. Robertson will just score a goal out of nowhere. And that's his thing. He can just score whenever. He's always able to score a goal. He always has that potential. Rantanen just controls the game. He's very much more like Heiskanen in that sense.
Yep. Okay. All right.
Better, because he's a forward and he gets to touch the puck more.
Right. Exactly. Okay. And quick shout out for Tyler Seguin too, who is low key having a really good year too. I wish we had more time to talk about him.
I think he's leading the team in even strength goals right now.
Yep. We'll talk about him on Wednesday though too. So, okay, y'all. Thank y'all so much for following along with us live. There's even more who are listening afterwards. We appreciate you guys. Once again, make sure you click like and subscribe if you're watching for the first time on YouTube. Hit that notification bell. If you're listening on the audio side, your favorite audio podcast platform of choice, whether that be Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever, please make sure you leave us a 5-star review. We really appreciate that. We got some interesting links down in the description below, so make sure you go and check out all of those links down where you can find us on social media or where you can look at our media kit or even become a member of the Who Cares Club. We would love for you to be a part of that. Alongside James, my name's Ryan. We'll catch you guys on the flip side. We hope you guys have a fantastic morning, afternoon, evening. Whenever you guys are listening, go Stars.